Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. A bit of an earlier stream than the usual late night ones. So if you're new around here and this is the first time joining, make sure to hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button. We have an action-packed show today. Lots of topics to discuss. It's back to the UFC, it's back to MMA. Obviously, if you've not been keeping it up to date with the channel, I did the watch long for Batavia Bivol. And then I did a reaction video the other day discussing the card. Was it a robbery? Was it not? The scorecards, etc., etc., etc. But we're back to the bread and butter. We're back to the UFC, and the UFC have been dropping, some big announcements. If you were live with me on the watch long for the boxing, the UFC 310 card was announced, and it will be headlined by Belal Muhammad making his first defense of his newly won UFC welterweight title against Shavkat Rakhmonov, 18-0, 18 finishes. For me, right decision. For me, it wasn't a decision that I was expecting the UFC to go down, especially because Kamaru Usman's been talking about wanting to get back into the octagon. Him and Belal have gone through a bit back and forward and stuff like that, and you're thinking, even though Usman's 0-3 in his last 3 fights, the UFC can still spin it in a way that you could easily do Kamaru versus Belal because Kamaru's a former champ. However, we probably got the fight that, people want to see. I think this is probably the most anticipated fight at welterweight at the moment. Definitely Belal's toughest test. I'm surprised that Belal took on this challenge. Because I think he is going to lose. I think Shavkat is going to finish him. We're going to keep the title reign nice and short. Because not gonna lie, I am still a bit salty that he beat Leon, but he deservedly beat Leon as well. Dominated him over 5 rounds. But yeah, Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Good main event. I sort of predicted that Belal was going to headline this card. He was just finding the right dance partner, and because Belal's not the biggest name, the most well-known name, he's been getting cooked left, right, and center. Connor, Ilya, they've had their 2 pence at Belal. So, this card would have to really, really be stacked. Comment here from They Love Sweat. Hey, what's up, bro? What's up to you, my friend? If you're new, make sure to smash the like button, share button, and subscribe button as well. So also the co-main event was a bit of a not an odd one. So it's Alexander Pantoja making his I think it's about his 2nd or 3rd defense of his flyweight gold against debutant Kai Asakura, rising bantamweight champion. People are going to go, why is Asakura getting a debut title shot? Isn't there anyone else that you could fit Pantoja against? Could we see an Usyk rematch? Don't think that's going to happen now. Usyk's 2 back-to-back losses. What about Kai Kara France? What about Albazi? 2 fresh matchups for Pantoja that we've not seen before. With regards to Albazi's booked up with Brandon Moreno later this year. And I'm a bit surprised that Kai France, unless he is injured, why that fight couldn't have been booked. But however, this is still a good fight. I've not seen a lot of Asakura, so I'm going to have to do a lot of research on him before we do the preview. Before we do the preview for that event. Loves the way. Do you think Ilya versus Max is the biggest headline for Abu Dhabi ever since the UFC has been going there? What? As in no, I'd probably say it was Charles Islam. Charles Islam was probably bigger because it was Charles after Charles was on the hot streak. Islam, I think that was still the biggest. That was still the biggest in my eyes. So Asakura. I was looking up about Asakura's record. It's got 4 losses on the record, right? I read that he's not made flyweight since 2017. So unless he's done some, pre-body tests to see what weight he can safely cut to, unless it's confirmed that he can actually safely cut to 125, then it's a bit of an odd one. But for Pantoja, like he is running out of options at flyweight because let's be honest, most of us, well, I think Jamie has said this already in our group chat that he thinks Pantoja is going to win. I'm edging that way at the moment purely because I've not done any type of research. Day Love's Way. Asakura Jenny has no chance he'll get subbed in the fight. I think that's how it will go, prediction wise. I've not seen much of him. I don't know what the grappling's like over at Ryzen. We know what Pantoja's about. He's Brazilian, so obviously stamped on the birth certificate as a Brazilian fighter, Brazilian black belt jiu-jitsu. Big up Tyler, keep grinding. I was going to send you a super chat, but they're not there yet. No, unfortunately, they're not there yet. I need to get to about 500. I think I need to get to 500 subs at least. And I need to get my watch time still needs to go up. So, we're grinding. Oh, we're going to get there. Bit of an earlier stream because I'm not at work. So that's why the streams are during the day. But yeah, I don't think Asakura will win. But for Pantoja, like, his last fight against Usyk, I thought he was poor. I thought did he take Usyk lightly? Possibly. I thought Usyk won that fight, and leaving on the 20th to Abu Dhabi. So excited. So I said, hey, enjoyed the experience. I would love to go out there. I'd love to go out there, but just fortunately money in that. Hopefully one day I'll go there as media, but just don't think at the moment. But hey, after the event, when I do a live stream, make sure that you're around. Let me know in the comments what that experience is like. Let me know. And also on the card as well for UFC 310, it was Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. Both guys that washed. Not gonna lie, both these guys are washed. Well, Anthony Smith is more washed than Reyes, but even though Reyes is younger, Reyes has basically gone through the ringer. So that's going to be a very, very interesting fight to see which chin goes first, whether or not it be Smith's or Reyes's. Also on the card, Cyril Garn versus Alexander Volkov. They were due to fight in Abu Dhabi, but I think Cyril may have been injured, so that's why it got pushed back to 310. He was either injured or he was still filming that Netflix MMA show in France, which when Tom Aspinall said ages ago that he was off filming, we didn't know what he was filming for, but he's actually filming for a TV Netflix MMA show, which looks quite interesting. That I might have to give a watch. I'm going to have to give that a watch, but he'll be fighting Volkov. Great opportunity for Volkov because he beat Pavlovich as well. Yeah, loves the way. Yeah, Nick Diaz versus Vicente Luque will be kicking off the main card, which will be insane. Yeah, I don't think the card's complete yet because I don't see I don't see Anthony Smith versus Reyes being on the main card. I see it being the prelim bout. I really think because this is the UFC's 30th anniversary. This is like their last show of it being 30 years. So I do expect it to be stacked. Obviously, it would have been stacked that they could have got McGregor, but McGregor's doing McGregor things at the moment with bare knuckle and stuff like that. So, yeah, I have to say, I'm not buzzed to see Nick Diaz back. I'm not. Is anyone really buzzed to see this version of Nick Diaz back after what we saw against Robbie Lawler? Like, I have to say that was an uncomfortable viewing. And I know Vicente Luque has been off for a while because I think his last bout he had like a brain injury or something, and that really kept him out. Which I think he's only just recently been cleared to go back. So I have to say, like on paper, this Diaz versus Luque looks good on paper, but I just think as like health wise and it just doesn't sit very easy with me. And then also on the card, most of our Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling as well on the card. Loves the way said McGregor is more likely fighting the winner of Chandler Charles at International Fight Week next year. I'll touch on that I'll touch on that next subject after UFC 310. We'll be discussing on Oliveira Chandler because Chandler came out with some stuff. Tyler Jones here with a comment: UFC kind of declining. Not excited about many of these fights these days. The matchups are there, but they need the Saudi money to make it happen. I do agree in respects that the UFC is kind of declining. Not excited about the fights these days. Their matchups there, but need the Saudi money. I don't think it's. I think they need the Saudi money for the UFC to book it. Because let's be honest, I think most of these fighters will want to get paid properly, and we know that there's been a dispute about fighter pay and stuff like that. And you've got Kevin Holland coming out saying fighters need to fight more often. Well, that's pretty difficult when you've got over 700 fighters on the roster, and you haven't got enough events to get fighters fights. Really, so that's a bit of a hypocritical statement. So 3-10 is a main without any Saudi money. It looks good so far. I do expect more fights to be added to the card though. 3-9's utter dog shit though. I will touch on that because we'll touch on Tom Aspinall later on because he was touching on about that as well. But I just think I sort of agree the UFC is kind of declining. For me, it's a Dana issue why the UFC is declining. It's a Dana ego thing. For me. So those were the fights that are basically confirmed. So it's Smith, Reyes, Sterling, Evloev, Luque Diaz, Volkov, Gan, Pantoja, Asakura, and then Mohammed versus Rachmanov. So let me know in the comments what you think of the card. What fights do you expect to be added on? Because this won't be the whole card. I expect lots of other names to be added on this card. Like I would expect maybe Dustin Poirier fighting on the card, maybe possibly his last fight on that card, but we shall see. Moving on, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, UFC 309. Obviously, we know Chandler's been chasing Red Panty Night for ages now. Unfortunately, he's not been able to secure the bag for Red Panties Night and has decided to take on Charles Oliveira. A rematch for the vacant title several years ago. It's a good card. There's not really much room for more fights at UFC 310. I think there is because they've not really announced the prelims at all. Like, because usually some of the fights that get announced sort of early, some do get pushed down to the prelims. Not like I don't think any prelim fights have been announced for 310 yet. So you could see some of the bigger fights on this card, like Evloev Sterling, which would be ridiculous, but it probably would happen. Evloev Sterling, Reyes Smith being pushed down to the prelims, get other names onto the card because this is UFC's going to be not its biggest event because it's had 310 this year, 303 and stuff like that. But in terms of 30th year anniversary, we need a bumper card to end the year off. I do expect more big names that are sort of waiting to get booked, sort of will probably end up finding a way on 309 or 3010. But back to Oliveira Chandler. So booked for the rematch. Am I pumped for this rematch? Yeah, it's going to be a fun fight. I'm not pumped when I'm hearing Michael Chandler saying that he has been told by Dana White that this is a #1 contenders bout. And when I heard that, I was thinking because this is touching on on They Love's Ways comment. McGregor's going to fight the winner of Chandler Charles at International Fight Week next year. Well, according to Michael Chandler, this bout is a #1 contenders bout for Islam Makhachev after he after he faces Arman Tsarukyan probably in January. So I don't know how you guys feel about that #1 contenders bout against Oliveira Chandler, and even Chandler even admitted like even if he wins and they can rebook Conor, he's taking the Conor fight again. So why is this bout a #1 contenders bout? Because I know everyone loves Charles. I love Charles the Bronx, one of the most entertaining fighters at lightweight ever. We saw the Islam bout. We saw that Islam dropped him over the straight jab and then jumped in the submission, right? And we were eager to see the rematch. I just don't think the rematch is. I don't. It's a difficult sell. It's a difficult sell. Are those all the fights with 310 so far? Chase Hooper, Clay Guida, Chiesa versus Max Griffin, Suarez. Yeah, I do. I probably Durden versus. Yeah, I do expect that like another big name on that card. I probably do expect like another big name so far. But I don't know what you guys think about Charles versus Chandler. I just don't know what you guys think about it because like does anyone think Chandler's gonna win that fight? Because I don't. Until I'm not too sure. I'm just not too sure based on the ring rust, the time he's been out the octagon. You know, by the time he fights, he's going to be been out for nearly. When did he last fight? When did Chandler last fight, guys? When did Michael Chandler actually last fight? Was it when he lost to Gaethje? No, his last fight was when he lost to Dustin in November 22. So he's going to be out the octagon for 2 years. For 2 years. He's been chasing McGregor for 2 years. He's wasted the last 2 years of his fighting prime to chase McGregor. Oh my days. Hey, you have to admire the commitment. But even Chandler got bored. Honestly, I think Charles wins. I'm more than likely to do Islam Charles 2 next year, and I'll definitely rebook Conor Chandler. Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to go. I think Chandler's going to submit him. Not saying that Chandler's not got a chance, but I just think based on everything, like you waited 2 years for McGregor, who, let's be honest, like we'll probably touch on it we'll probably touch it later on Combat Catch Up, but like McGregor, did anyone see him at bare knuckle pulling up a madness? You know, trying to dance with the girl, then he remembers he has a wife. Does anyone not see that? Crazy! It's crazy. Yeah, I do think Charles wins. Like early prediction, Charles wins. But I do if it I think it's a 3-rounder, so that may benefit Chandler because the gas tank, because we don't know what his gas tank's going to be. But if Chandler wins, it's still going to be Conor. So it's really only a number one contenders fight for Charles, and this is the issue that we've got at. I've just put the rankings now, right? Right. I'll pull up the rankings for lightweight now. Yeah, just share the screen quickly. This is the beauty of live YouTube, everyone. The beauty of live YouTube. Probably should have planned this a bit better, but here we go. Right. Rankings here. Islam champ. It's quite sad. Chandler was either fantasizing on the Errol Hawani podcast about him versus McGregor for a number one contenders fight. Yeah, I did see that. And then he then goes, oh, it came from the boss's mouth that it's number one contenders about me and Charles. So fucking pick one. Is it McGregor you want? Because if you're in McGregor and just wanted to keep active, you're not taking this fight against Charles. You're taking it someone lower down the rankings. But this is the issue now we've got with the rankings, right? So Islam's number one. I fully expect him to fight Arman Sarukian next in January, is what the rumor is. And so what's going around the grapevine. Islam is out with a hand injury. He has started training, but he's not going to be back till the end of the year. He's not going to be back. Ready to go January, February. So that's booked. Title fight booked. You got Oliveira versus Chandler. Number one contenders bout, as they say. But Chandler has already come out and said, if I win, if I win, I want Conor. But if Charles wins, I do expect them to run a rematch between him and Islam International Fight Week around that time, right? Justin Gaethje. Don't know where his head's at the moment. Obviously, we have not seen him since. Obviously, we've not seen him since the head kick, since the knockout to Max Holloway. He said he's just doing like sparring. He's still ranked number 3. Don't know where he goes from here. Because I know he wants to have a shot at the title. Just don't know where he goes from here. I reckon we get Drickus Strickland 2 in January instead. Yeah, I can see that being booked. Absolutely, I think that possibly going to be booked unless Hamzat ragdolls Robert Whittaker. Unless that happens, literally next weekend, not this weekend, coming weekend afterwards, then I think that will be the fight. I think they may save Arman Islam 2 for Saudi Arabia fight night on February the 1st. Is that being confirmed that they're going to Saudi for a fight night? Because I know Hooker was talking about him versus McGregor at Saudi. Is that actually confirmed that they're going for Saudi for a fight night? Because I don't think they'll do it on a fight night. I think they will. Yeah, it's been confirmed. Possibly, but I think I predicted that. Do you know when Robert Whittaker fought Askarov? I predicted that they were going to have a title on that card because it's Saudi, but they didn't in the end. But I do expect the UFC to do like a proper UFC pay-per-view from Saudi Arabia, and when they decide to do that, that's when we'll get Islam or maybe Hamzat fighting for a belt, Islam defending a belt, etc. Or maybe Bilal Muhammad, should he have a belt by then. But going back to the rankings, you've got Justin Gaethje. Don't know where he's at. Dustin Poirier has basically said that he's got one more fight and then he's retired. So you're sort of ruling him out. Not gonna lie, I would like to see an Islam Dustin rematch. I thought that was one of the better fights this year. Really enjoyed the fight. I thought Dustin did well, but I thought Islam just pulled out a bit of genius at the end to get the submission. And then obviously we're scrolling down here. Dan Hooker, he said he wanted to fight McGregor. Like, he even threw his name to fight McGregor, bare knuckle and stuff. Said he wanted to fight in February, but then he came out and said he can't because his missus giving birth. So congratulations to him and Charles, by the way. Congratulations to him and Charles, Dan Hooker and Charles having a kid. No, congratulations to Dan and his wife. Hopefully that they have a baby all good and well. And then obviously Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz 5-round co-main event for 3/11 in California would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing, because that fight was supposed to happen. Yeah, that fight was supposed to happen. Nate Diaz back in the UFC. Yes, please. Could that fight happen? Possibly, but I doubt it. I don't know what Nate's relationship with the UFC is. I know him and Dana are cool, but just don't know whether or not that he's willing to do business, go back to the UFC yet. But yeah, with the rankings, we've got Beneil Dariush 7. When was the last time Dariush fought, guys? Does anyone know when the last time Beneil Dariush actually fought? I swear he fought about 2 years ago. No, actually, I think the last time he fought, he lost to Charles. He lost to Charles. Yeah, age 35, like. No, yeah, lost to Sarukian. Yeah, lost to Sarukian last year. Oh, that's how I remember. They got absolutely KO'd. Yeah, back-to-back losses. Just, yeah, like he's, a year out. He's nowhere near for the belt. Even though, remember when it was supposed to be Islam versus Dariush before Islam got the title? Crazy. Then Max Holloway's fighting Poirier for the featherweight belt. Then obviously you're looking down the list. Gamrot, Fiziev, Moicano, Benoit Saint-Denis, Jalen Turner, Paddy Pimblett, Rafael Dos Anjos. So I have to say, like, there's not a lot of options for Islam. Like, I know he's spoken about double champ status, and I know I'm drifting off topic here, talking about Oliveira and Chandler, but we love to go off tangents on this channel. But if Chandler wins, right, and they can rebook Connor, and Islam's sitting around thinking, I don't know what the F I'm doing. I want a belt at 70. It would be a bit of a tricky one because Bilal Muhammad said that he'd never fight Islam because they're like family. Yeah, family to you. You ain't family to him. You ain't blood. But if Shavkat wins the belt, Shavkat is actually trained with Khabib's father in the past that knows two have sparred together as well. So what do you do then? Morning, ladies and lads. Yes, morning. Good morning. Or do you let Islam entertain Ilia Topuria coming up, challenging for the belt at 55? Because Islam's is hit that territory because after Sarukin, there is no outstanding number one contender. Even this bout between Oliveira and Chandler at 309. A winner of this still doesn't mean that they're an overwhelming number one contender for this. So it'll be very interesting to see how that one goes. I do expect Oliveira to win, but hey, strange things have happened. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Moving on. Oh, but before we move on, we have a comment here. I think Islam fights Oliveira and Armin next year. Chandler fights Connor. Hooker fights Justin. Dustin fights Nate and Callie. You know what? I could see that. A Hooker Justin fight would be fun. Yeah, it'd definitely be fun. But I think, for me, the only match I'd like to see Islam is Islam Gaethje. But I think Gaethje's gone through too many wars. I just don't think that fight will be as appealing, really. Ilya's going to fight Volk in the rematch and is going to fight Lopez. Yeah, that's the way it's looking like. I don't think Volk should be getting a rematch. My personal opinion, you have to lose it has to be a close contest for you to win the belt, for you to get a rematch for the belt in my eyes. Getting KO'd as easily as that, you don't deserve a rematch, and that's my opinion. But yeah, Ilya's got a tough run at featherweight. Lopez would be a really tough fight for him. I think he KOs Volk again. Should he beat Max, which I've just got a feeling his confidence, his aura, the aura is at a different level at the moment. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does there. Which, watch long will be on the Sanderson Show for that, for the Abu Dhabi card 308, literally a couple of weeks' time. So make sure you tune in for that as well. But moving on, Sugar Sean O'Malley was on the Errol Hawani podcast the other day, talking about he's wanting his rematch with Merab Dvalishvili after he lost the belt to him at UFC Not J in a fairly one-sided decision. As much as certain media people, certain Max versus Lopez will be a mismatch. Will be a mismatch. Yeah, just because of Max's size, his reach. I think it'd be very difficult. I think it would be a bit of a mismatch. So O'Malley wants the MERAB rematch. Yes, I completely understand why he'd want the MERAB rematch, because he basically embarrassed you in an event that was designed to really elevate his star power, really, because we know the UFC have been trying to recapture their own way the Conor McGregor in a bottle formula, which I think everyone's finding out that you can't recreate the Conor McGregor, the prime Conor McGregor formula. You cannot recreate it. As much as the UFC has tried, especially with, I feel like that they think Sugar Sean is incredibly talented. I do think he's incredibly a talented fighter. I do think he does have holes in his game, which got pretty much I wouldn't say exposed, or I think the term that people like to use is fraud checked. I don't think O'Malley was fraud checked, but it did definitely opened massive, massive area in his game where he definitely needs an improvement for. If O'Malley gets the MERAB rematch and wins, I can see UFC doing O'Malley versus Umar at MSG headliner. Well, this is the thing, right? So he says that because obviously O'Malley's out injured, right? He says he wants to come back about March, April. But the UFC have already sort of not confirmed yet, but it's Umar's the next contender, which MERAB's not happy about, but it's the nature of the beast. Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. You just have to do things that you don't really want to do. And I think O'Malley will come back and fight someone for me, a perfect comeback opponent for him would be a Corey Sandhagen as like a striking aspect, or a return against maybe like a Henry Cejudo or someone like that, depending on what Henry's doing, but depending if Henry's still about by then. But I think O'Malley wants that rematch, and yeah, absolutely, he'd want that rematch because he embarrassed you. He embarrassed you. The shit talking. Hey, look, I am a massive fan of a bit of shit talking. Yeah, I love the prime Conor McGregor, his build up, his run, witty on the mic, clapbacks for anyone. You talk shit, you get it back. The Floyd McGregor press conference tour, beautiful. Beautiful. Just jabs, insults. The Conor at his best. Obviously, Conor Khabib went a bit sour. Tried the nice guy gimmick for Cerrone and Dustin, and then he went really nasty for Dustin. And then since then, he's been on the booze. He's been on the tequila, the whiskey, the Proper 12. He's been on the coke. He's basically been on every drug imaginable, and he's basically been a bit of a pisshead. If you saw him at BKFC, Conor McGregor is a pisshead. Facts. He just is. But I don't mind the trash talking if you back it up. If you back up your trash talk, that's when your star power goes up. When you talk the talk and walk the walk. That's why people loved McGregor back in the day. Because he talked the talk and backed it up. That's why Islam Makhachev is turning me around. I wasn't a big fan. He's witty on the mic. And backs it up in the octagon with great performances. Ilya could do the same because he's talking a lot of smack at the moment. To Max, to Bilal, to Islam. Yeah, it's all good talking crap, saying that you're better than this, technically, thinking I can beat a prime McGregor at 45, which is mental, by the way. But if you don't beat Max, then that trash talk, people are going to have receipts for you. And this is the beautiful thing. That's why when Bilal won the belt, I did a video saying Bilal's collecting receipts. Because damn right he's collecting receipts. Comment here. Yeah, a big love Sway. O'Malley would never be the level of Conor. When Conor was booked for 303, the event had 20 million plus gate. 6 weeks out from the event, he did all by himself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because as much as McGregor is a pisshead, we don't know whether or not he's going to fight again. People want to see him fight again to see if he has recovered from the leg break. Yeah, the second his name was even announced, boom, $20 million gate. Done. Snap of a finger. Easy would have done 1 million pay-per-view buys, no matter who he fought. He could have fought a broom. 1 million pay-per-view buys. Instantly. I need that Conor versus Chandler Dublin presser next year. Yes. Yes. Get him doing a Dublin presser. I swear they were supposed to do a Dublin presser. I swear they were supposed to do it, but they got cancelled. And that's when we found out that McGregor did his binky toe. So they were supposed to do a Dublin one by the looks of it. But yeah, loving the hey, everyone that's tuning in, smash the like button, share button, and subscribe button as well. Make sure to subscribe to Jamie Phillips Football Chats and Callum's channel, The Sanderson Show. Links are in the description. I will be back on with Callum tonight with him and Jamie on The Sanderson Show, where we will be touching on Amanda Nunes and stuff like that. stuff that I won't touch on here because we'll touch on that later on. But make sure you tune in for that because we'll be talking on more great topics as well, BKFC and possibly and stuff like that. So make sure you tune in there. But obviously, let's talk about Tommy Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall basically confirmed what we all confirmed. He is the backup fighter for John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, which, if anyone's been living under a rock, that was probably the most, we all knew. You know when you just like we all knew that he was going to be the backup fighter. Yeah, we all knew, right? But obviously they were speaking about the comments about like Jones saying like, oh, you'll never win more world championships than him, and and he just went, yeah, I don't want to win as many championships as you. I just want to be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, make as much money as quick as possible, and then bounce. Which is true. Which is true because I get it. I get it. I get it as well. Like, I just, yeah, yeah, just crazy. Yeah, just looking back through that interview, really. So he also said that that the UFC have got something planned for him. He's gonna have something exciting planned for him. I think I'll just find that out now. Oh, yeah, Dana White's not having the rankings. Sorry, I was just trying to find out because he said that UFC had something planned for him. Oh yeah, the Sugar Sean wants to return March, April in Miami as well. Yeah, so basically he said that he's got something like he's got sorry. He said that he's got something planned for him. Something planned for him after the event if Stipe and Jones retires. Which he's sort of alluding to that he's going to fight Alex Pereira next year if Jones and Stipe retire both at the same event, which I think is what he's suggesting. Because even if Cyril wins, I just don't think Cyril deserves to have a shot for undisputed gold again, because he's been avoiding Tom Aspinall like the plague, and he's been off filming shit in France for an MMA show. But he also touched on another thing, right? So this sort of leads into Ngannou PFL stuff, but I'm not going to really touch on that because I'll be doing a preview tomorrow, hopefully with Callum and Jamie, previewing the PFL Saudi card, which will be the first time I'll do a PFL show dedicated to the PFL, right? Tom Aspinall said he doesn't think Francis Ngannou's next opponent, Renan Ferreira, is elite. He said, the guy Francis is fighting for, a friend of mine, and my friend destroyed him in a minute or two. The guys in the PFL are not elite. It's difficult to say Francis is the best heavyweight in the world when he's not fighting elite guys right now. Which I agree. I sort of agree because let's be honest, right? Like the PFL, they're like, how can I put this in simple terms? Like, if you say the UFC is like the WWE of MMA, right? You'd probably say the PFL are like, I was gonna try and say the AEW, but like they're not really captivating the audiences. Like the promotion for the PFL card has been a fucking joke, by the way. Like this is like your biggest card in Ngannou's return, and I've seen no publicity for it. Why? No publicity for it. Crazy. But he said that the opponent's not elite, that he's not fighting the elite guys, because Francis did say he's the best heavyweight in the world. It's a tricky one, really, because I do think that Dana did. Dana's annoyed me, Dana. He's annoyed me big time because Ngannou should still be in the UFC, and we should be getting Ngannou, Jones, Francis Jones, Francis Aspinall. We should be getting all of that, but Dana, has got a stupid vendetta, so that's probably not going to happen. So it's really difficult to say. Like, if let me know, guys. Like, if Francis beats Ferreira, is that still a claim of him being the best heavyweight in the world at the moment in MMA? I'm not too sure, but I know as much as Dana White doesn't rate the PFL, I guarantee you he's watching Francis Ferreira, because anyway that Francis getting knocked out, that's Dana's meal ticket, baby, so he can carry on trashing Francis. But Tom Aspinall basically thinks that his opponent's not elite, and he also said that he's going to be the backup fight for UFC 309, which we all knew. Like, let's be honest, I think we all knew that he was going to be the backup fighter. But hopefully, I just hope that Jones does not retire at UFC 309, which I just got a feeling he will, because John Jones is a pussy. John Jones is a pussy. Yes, I have said that. John Jones is not that guy anymore. Hasn't got the hunger, hasn't got the desire to chase that real goat status. Because just because you're fighting a wash Stipe, thinking that's going to make it some goat, a heavyweight, not for me. Not for me. But hey ho, stay tuned for UFC 309, because Callum's brother Calvin will be joining us on that stream. John Jones's #1 fan will be joining us on that stream. Hopefully he'll be joining us for the preview as well. So Callum's brother Calvin, massive John Jones fan, he should be joining us on the build-up and on the watch-on for that event. So that'll be very, very interesting. Stream with Jamie, me, Callum, Calvin. So tune into that as well. Obviously, tune in to the PFL watch-along next week. That will be on the Sanderson Show as well on the 26th. Myself, Callum, Jamie, that will be. I don't know what time the card is, but apparently he's going to be on that at a good time. Good for the UK, it's good for me, good for my sleep. So I'll take that. And then also make sure that you tune in for the preview for that card. Is it this week? What's the date? 15th. No, it's next week. So it'll be next week will be the build up to Francis's in octagon return. But with regards to what I'm doing for the rest of the day, make sure you guys are subbed to the Sanderson Show. Link is in the description. I will be there with Callum and Jamie tonight, talking all things UFC MMA. We may be treading over old ground, but I don't think so. I think we'll be discussing. I'll find it out. So I think we are discussing Amanda Nunes retiring, Conor versus Dan Hooker ? And more. So make sure that you are over at the Sanderson Show later this evening for more great content. And make sure you hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button to this channel as well. I'm trying my best to get more consistency to really boost this channel. I know it's a shock that I'm live this early. This probably won't be the case because I'm off work, so it will be mostly back to evening streams. But anytime that I'm off work or I'm not in, I'll try and do some morning content as well. And also along with the watch-alongs, the boxing watch-alongs seem to be going well, so we'll be doing some more of them as well. Possibly Fury Usyk in December, depending what my Christmas plans are, but that could be a real possibility as well. And also we'll do some UFC Fight Night watch-alongs as well, so make sure you tune into that, and more previews, reviews, videos like this. Hopefully you get a few interviews as well. So I'm really going to try and make more of an effort to really try and boost this channel up as well. So everyone that's tuned in, we've had a good chat. All the comments as well from Ottoman Turk, they loves way. Just going back to some of these, Tyler Jones as well. Massive shout out for your comment. Yes, a shout out everyone that's commented, everyone that has watched. Make sure. Yes, big up Joe. Yeah, Brian Battle being added to UFC 310 is quite sick. Yes, especially after he did his his own Colby Covington impression, absolutely trashing France after winning, which apparently he may be banned from France. He may be banned ever competing in France again, which would be fucking hilarious, by the way. So that'd be absolutely hilarious. Big up Ottoman as well. Yeah, so big up everyone that's tuned in. Make sure that you catch me later on the Sanderson Show. Link is in the description. Make sure to sub to Jamie's channel, Jamie Phillips Football Chat, and the Sanderson Show. All links are in the description as well. Massive thanks to everyone that's tuning in, and I will see you all very soon. Peace.